Hello, dear friends, and welcome. I'm a marriage counselor, and I want to just talk to you about the brutal truth about long distance relationship. Are you in a long distance relationship right now? Or do you know someone who is in a long distance relationship? Are you contemplating a long distance relationship? Now, if you are, you have to listen to this video till the end because there's some great stuff at the very end of this video. Now, if you know somebody who is contemplating a long distance relationship, you want to help me also send this message to them. I have been a marriage counselor for over 2 decades, and I want to be able to say that I know what I'm talking about. Now, in all of this time, I have seen some long distance relationship end up beautifully, end up very, very well. Okay, so there is that. But if I don't have scientific statistics, but from what I know from the people I have engaged with, I would say maybe 7 out of 10 long distance relationships don't make it. And I'm even trying to be very generous with that statistics. That is to say that if you are considering a long distance relationship, listen to these points first and then think very well if you will be able to make it. Number one, there are always communication issues. A lot of communication issues required because you see, the communication feels like a big task. And, there's going to be rigorous communication schedule. We'll talk at this time, we'll talk at this time, especially if the people are not within the same time zone. So there are communication issues. And I lectured communication for 35 years before I retired. And there's a big difference between face-to-face communication where, there are other communication cues that come into play other than just voice and or just seeing my face. But if we are doing face-to-face communication, there is a lot more that can be had in terms of communication. So first of all, one big issue is the communication issues. Then number two, there's financial strain. Sometimes, a lot of financial strain comes in because we are looking for data, we are looking for, how to send gifts back and forth and all those kind of things. And sometimes, traveling, we need to book a plane, we need to, travel back and forth. So there is that issue of financial strain. Then there is issues of insecurity. Issues of insecurity, which eventually sometimes lead to trust issues. Oh yes, I really want to trust you, but I've not seen you in 6 months. I've not seen you in like 1 year. So sometimes trust issues. And of course, you know that many human beings are already dealing with trust issues just by their upbringing. So that becomes a big, big problem. Then number four, there is the social life gap. What that means is that now I'm going to go on with my own social life. You are going to be doing your own social life. So you are going to make friends. You are going to go out on events that I'm not going to be a part of. Okay? So our social lives are now completely different social life. And so that leads to number five. Number five is that now we begin to grow apart. You see, because my experience is now different from yours. The people I'm engaging with, different from the people you are engaging with. My reality is now different from your reality. I know that we want to catch up, we want to talk about it, but it's not quite the same. And then number six, your environment changes you. This is a fact that many people don't want to accept. They think that because you don't jackpot now, you don't come forget the girl. The thing about it is that environment changes people. Any psychologist will tell you this. Environment changes people. And now there's a new reality. Sometimes your thought processes are different. Okay? You probably were dating this girl, from the village. Now you are in a different social reality and you are like, oh my God. You people don't seem to be any more on the same page. So environment changes people. And sometimes, I don't know what number I am right now, I think 6 or 7, you can't see any headway for the relationship. Sometimes that is a big problem, where there is no headway for this relationship. We don't know whether we're going to be getting married in 2 years' time, 3 years' time, because it's all based on so many variables. So when I don't see a headway for a relationship, after a while, I begin to get a little bit disinterested. Disinterested because, of course, now there are other possibilities popping up in the meanwhile. Okay? Then this one is huge. When there is no set reunion date, okay, yeah, probably we set a date at some point, but that day didn't work, because you see, what makes people actually do long distance relationship, perhaps there's a new job, perhaps education, perhaps business or something like that. Now, so maybe you started the school, it was supposed to be a 1 year program. After a while, it was extended, and now there is no set reunion date. It becomes quite a drag, and before you know it, this is leading to a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear, and especially when you know that while you are waiting for that person, your own biological clock is ticking. You are not going to stay the same age because the other person has traveled, okay, or is away. All right, so there is all that stress, all that fear. What about? And there are lots of stories. And I don't want to scare you with really gory stories, terrible stories. I mean, terrible. I've heard stories with this my ears. Okay, I think the worst of it was this guy who they actually even got married, and the boy said, let him just travel abroad, and that boy never resurfaced again till over 10 years. After a couple of years, I think after 10 years, this girl decided to move on with her life, and then got somebody else, was planning to marry. Just at the verge of the marriage, they had printed card, everything, and that boy resurfaces and comes and says, oh, I'm so sorry, blah, 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 blah. Of course, her parents weren't going to have it. I mean, you just abandoned my daughter all of these years, and you are coming back to say, I'm sorry. How does that even work in your reality? I mean, in your own planet, how does that work? All right, so then the last thing is you may meet somebody else, okay? And it's not because you didn't love that other person. It's just how life works, okay? Because now you are meeting different people in your workspace, in your daily life, in church, and you begin to pray and begin to say, well, you know what? I think it's time to move on. But what I want to say is this. If you are in a long distance relationship and you are beginning to change your mind about that relationship, be the good person. Inform that person. The most terrible thing is for you to continue to string that person on as if there's still an ongoing relationship when you know that your mind has left that relationship since. Don't be wicked. Don't be wicked. And don't say, oh, I don't want to hurt her feelings. What does that even mean? I don't want to hurt his feelings. What does that mean? Because eventually that's what's going to happen. So the sooner the better, so that the person can count the losses and move on with their lives. All right? Now, so please do that. But if you decide that, oh, it doesn't matter, I want to do this long distance relationship, give it a lot of prayer and then make up your mind to be a communicator. Communication is the key. Communicate, constant communication. And as I said earlier, there are some that have worked out really well. But if you think long distance relationship is not for you, let me see it in the comment section below. If you've had some experiences, would like to hear about them. And then please listen to me. I would like to end by saying this. There are some people who want to maintain long distance relationship with Jesus. Could it work? It won't work. Just as natural relationships don't work long distance, relationship with Jesus doesn't work long distance. So you need to check your following distance. Are you following close enough? If you are doing this long distance relationship with him, your spiritual life will never balance, is the truth. I love you very much, and like the video, share it, and I'll see you in our next video. God bless you.